Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm sharing something deeply personal, a story that many of you might relate to. Unfortunately, it's about the moment when you realize that love alone isn't enough to save a marriage, and sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away. This isn't an easy story to tell, but I believe there's power in sharing our experiences. Maybe someone out there needs to hear this. Maybe someone is going through something similar and feels alone. You're not alone. Names have been changed to protect everyone involved, but the emotions, the pain, and the difficult decisions, those are all real. 4 weeks ago, my world turned upside down. After nearly 20 years of marriage, 2 beautiful children, and a life we'd built together, I discovered something that shattered everything I thought I knew about our relationship. It was a Tuesday evening. I was reviewing our home security footage for something completely unrelated when I saw it. My wife, Sarah, and her friend Mark kissing in our living room. Not a friendly peck on the cheek, a real kiss. The kind of kiss that told me everything I needed to know about what had been happening behind my back. I sat there staring at the screen, my hands shaking. 20 years of marriage, of building a life together, of shared dreams and struggles. And there it was, playing out on a screen in black and white the moment my marriage died. The funny thing about betrayal is that it doesn't just hurt in the moment you discover it. It makes you question everything. Every late night she said she was working, every time she seemed distracted, every moment when I felt like something was off, but convinced myself I was being paranoid. Suddenly, all those little doubts made sense. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't eat the next morning. When Sarah came home from work, I showed her the footage. The look on her face, I'll never forget it. Not guilt, not shame, but annoyance. Annoyance that she'd been caught. "It's not what you think," she said. The classic line, right? But we both knew it was exactly what I thought. The conversation that followed was surreal. She admitted to the affair but minimized it. Said it just happened. Said she was confused about her feelings. Said she still loved me and wanted to work things out. But in the same breath, she made it clear she wasn't ready to cut contact with Mark. That should have been my first red flag. When someone cheats and says they want to save the marriage, the very first thing they should do is cut all contact with the other person. It's not negotiable. It's the bare minimum. But Sarah wasn't offering even that. Despite every instinct telling me to run, I chose to fight for our marriage. I threw myself into self-improvement with an intensity that, looking back, probably bordered on obsession. I read every book on relationships I could find. I started therapy. I examined every flaw in my character, every way I might have failed as a husband. Maybe I hadn't been attentive enough. Maybe I'd taken her for granted. Maybe if I could just become the perfect husband, she'd realize what she was throwing away. I worked on my communication skills. I planned special dates. I wrote her letters expressing my feelings. I did everything the marriage counselors and self-help books suggested. I became the most emotionally available, attentive version of myself I'd ever been. And you know what? It felt good to work on myself. I genuinely became a better person during those weeks. I learned to express my emotions more clearly, to listen more actively, to be more present in my relationships. These weren't bad things to learn. But here's what I didn't understand at the time. You can't self-improve your way out of someone else's betrayal. You can't become so perfect that someone chooses to stop cheating. That's not how it works. Sarah seemed to respond to my efforts. She said she was impressed by how hard I was working. She agreed to couples counseling. She talked about how she could see a future for us, how she wanted to rebuild what we'd lost. For a moment, I thought we might actually make it. I thought love could conquer all. I thought if I just loved her enough, if I just showed her how much she meant to me, she'd come back to me fully. But there was always a but. She wanted to work on our marriage, but she wasn't ready to stop talking to Mark. She loved me, but she needed time to sort out her feelings. She wanted to rebuild trust, but she couldn't promise she wouldn't see him. Every conversation felt like negotiating with someone who was holding all the cards. She wanted the security of our marriage, the comfort of our family, the stability of our home, but she also wanted the excitement of her affair. She wanted to have her cake and eat it too. While I was working on myself, while I was going to therapy, while I was trying to save our marriage, Sarah was still living a double life. They texted constantly. She'd smile at her phone in ways she hadn't smiled at me in months. They met up for runs together, something we used to do as a couple. Every time I brought up my discomfort with their continued contact, She made me feel like I was being controlling or jealous. She'd say things like, "You have to trust me if this is going to work," or "I can't be in a relationship where I'm not allowed to have friends." But Mark wasn't just a friend. He was the man she'd chosen to betray our marriage with. He was the man who'd known she was married and pursued her anyway. He was the man who'd been in our home, around our children, pretending to be a family friend, while secretly being something else entirely. The gaslighting was subtle but constant. She made me question my own reasonable boundaries. She made me feel like asking her to cut contact with her affair partner was somehow unreasonable or controlling. Yesterday, I discovered they were planning to attend a kink education event together. A kink education event. My wife was planning to explore sexual topics with the man she'd been cheating on me with, and she saw nothing wrong with this. When I confronted her about it, she was defensive. She said it was just educational, that they were just friends, that I was overreacting. She couldn't understand why I was upset. That's when it hit me. She genuinely didn't see anything wrong with what she was doing. In her mind, she could maintain an emotional and physical relationship with another man while working on her marriage with me. She thought she could have both. But more than that, she didn't want to choose. She didn't want to have to give up either relationship. She wanted me to be okay with sharing her, with being one of two men in her life. And I realized I'm not okay with that. I will never be okay with that. We'd been doing both individual and couples counseling throughout this ordeal. Last night, Sarah told me she didn't feel like the counseling was working. She said she didn't think we were making progress. Of course we weren't making progress. You can't make progress in marriage counseling when one person is actively maintaining a relationship with someone else. It's like trying to heal a wound while someone keeps reopening it. But her statement crystallized something for me. She wasn't really trying to save our marriage. She was going through the motions, checking boxes, so she could say she tried. But her heart wasn't in it. Her heart was with him. I've spent 4 weeks trying to save a marriage that my wife already ended the day she chose to kiss another man in our living room. I've been fighting for someone who isn't fighting for me. I've been trying to win back someone who never really came back. The pain of staying has become greater than the pain of leaving. The hope that kept me going has been revealed as an illusion. The woman I married, the woman I loved for 20 years, isn't the woman sitting across from me anymore. She's made her choice. She's chosen him, chosen excitement over stability, chosen newness over history. And I need to accept that choice and make my own, that only I want to save. I'm done being the only one trying to fix what's broken. I'm done accepting crumbs of affection while someone else gets the feast. I'm filing for divorce. The woman I married would never have put me through this. The woman I married would have cut contact with her affair partner the moment she decided she wanted to save our marriage. The woman I married would have fought for us the way I've been fighting for us. But that woman is gone. Maybe she never existed. Maybe I was in love with an idealized version of someone who was never real. I don't know anymore, and honestly, it doesn't matter. What matters is that I can't continue to sacrifice my dignity, my mental health, and my self-respect for someone who doesn't value any of those things. Filing for divorce when you have children, a home, and 20 years of intertwined lives isn't simple. There are lawyers to consult, assets to divide, custody arrangements to work out. There are difficult conversations with the kids, with family, with mutual friends. I know Sarah will go to Mark for support through the divorce. She'll paint me as the bad guy, the one who gave up, the one who wasn't willing to fight for the marriage. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being the villain in her story if it means I can be the hero in my own. I don't know if she'll be amicable through the divorce process. I hope so, for the kids' sake. But I'm preparing for the worst. I'm getting a good lawyer. I'm documenting everything. I'm protecting myself and my children. Let me tell you about Mark. He's twice divorced, struggles with alcohol, and has a job that barely pays the bills. He's not particularly attractive, not particularly successful, not particularly anything. But he was available and he was interested, and apparently that was enough. Sarah suggested we should all be friends. Can you imagine? She wanted me to be buddies with the man who helped destroy my marriage. She wanted us to all hang out together, one big happy family. The audacity of it still takes my breath away. But it also shows me how far removed from reality she's become. She's living in a fantasy world where she can have everything she wants without consequences. The hardest part of all this is the children. They're young and they don't understand why mommy and daddy are sad all the time. They don't understand why the atmosphere in our home has changed. They don't understand why daddy has been crying. How do you explain to a child that their family is falling apart because one parent chose someone else? How do you help them understand that sometimes adults make choices that hurt the people they're supposed to love most? I'm going to do everything I can to protect them from the ugly details. They don't need to know about the affair. They don't need to know about the betrayal. They just need to know that both their parents love them, even if we can't love each other anymore. Through all of this, I've learned some hard truths about love, marriage, and human nature. I learned that you can't love someone enough to make them choose you. Love isn't a competition where the person who tries hardest wins. Sometimes people make choices that have nothing to do with how much they're loved. I learned that actions speak louder than words. Sarah could say she wanted to save our marriage all she wanted, but her actions showed she wanted to maintain her relationship with Mark more. I learned that setting boundaries isn't controlling, it's self-respect. Asking your spouse to cut contact with their affair partner isn't unreasonable. It's the bare minimum requirement for rebuilding trust. I learned that some people are capable of loving two people at once, but that doesn't mean the person being asked to share has to be okay with it. Most importantly, I learned that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk away. Sometimes ending a relationship is the only way to preserve your dignity and self-respect. I'm not going to lie, I'm scared. I'm scared of being alone after 20 years. I'm scared of dating again. I'm scared of splitting time with my children. I'm scared of starting over at this stage of my life. But I'm also relieved. I'm relieved that I don't have to keep pretending everything is okay. I'm relieved that I don't have to keep accepting behavior that destroys my self-worth. I'm relieved that I can finally start healing instead of just managing pain. The work I did on myself these past 4 weeks wasn't wasted. I genuinely became a better person. I learned to communicate better, to be more emotionally available, to be more present. These are skills that will serve me well in all my future relationships. I also learned that I'm stronger than I thought. I survived the discovery of the affair. I survived weeks of gaslighting and manipulation. I survived having my reality questioned and my boundaries dismissed. I survived all of it, and I'm still standing. One thing that surprised me is how many people have been through similar experiences. When I started opening up to close friends and family, story after story came out. Affairs, betrayals, divorces. Apparently, it's much more common than I realized. Their support has been invaluable. They've reminded me that I'm not crazy for wanting monogamy in my marriage. They've validated my feelings when I started doubting myself. They've helped me see that I deserve better than what I was accepting. I've also started seeing a therapist individually, and it's been incredibly helpful. Having a neutral party to talk through my feelings, to help me process what's happened, to give me tools for moving forward, it's been a lifeline. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if I'll find love again. I don't know how the divorce will go. I don't know how my children will adjust to having 2 homes instead of 1. But I know I'll be okay. I know I'm making the right choice. I know I'm choosing self-respect over false hope. I know I'm choosing dignity over desperation. I'm looking forward to rediscovering who I am as an individual, not just as half of a couple. I'm looking forward to dating someone who chooses me fully, not reluctantly. I'm looking forward to being with someone who doesn't make me question my worth or my sanity. Most of all, I'm looking forward to being happy again. Really happy, not just going through the motions of happiness while dying inside. If you're going through something similar, if you're wondering whether you should fight for someone who isn't fighting for you, if you're accepting behavior that destroys your self-worth because you're afraid of being alone, please listen to me. You deserve better. You deserve someone who chooses you every day, not someone who keeps you as an option. You deserve someone who respects your boundaries, not someone who makes you feel controlling for having them. Love isn't supposed to hurt this much. Love isn't supposed to make you question your sanity. Love isn't supposed to require you to accept betrayal and disrespect. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk away. Sometimes ending a relationship is the only way to save yourself. It's going to hurt. It's going to be scary. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it. You're worth it. Thank you for listening to my story. I know it wasn't easy to hear, just like it wasn't easy to live through, but I hope it helps someone out there who's going through something similar. Remember, you are not alone. You are stronger than you think. You deserve better than settling for someone who doesn't value you. If this story resonated with you, please leave a comment below. Share your own experiences if you're comfortable doing so. Support others who might be going through similar situations. And if you're the person who's thinking about having an affair, if you're the person who's maintaining an inappropriate relationship while married, if you're the person who's making your spouse question their sanity, please stop. Please make a choice. Please don't put someone through what I've been through. Love should lift you up, not tear you down. Choose accordingly. Until next time, take care of yourselves. You're worth it.